Okay, I'm making this video to let people know that are in my friend circle and or family circle what it's like to deal with bipolar slash depression disorder. There's so many people out there who will look at you and say, you know, why are you so sad? Like, why don't you just get over it? And, a lot of us, almost probably every single one of us that has and or suffers from bipolar disorder wishes we could just get over it. I'm sure I posted it on Facebook before that, people lose loved ones, they lose animals that they've loved, etc., and they're sad and depressed for a while. They eventually do get over it, and they move on to something else. Well, for those of us who suffer bipolar disorder, we don't get over it. And it's not just that we're triggered by something like scary or sad like that. It's the fact that our brains are telling us that your life is horrible and you're not worth people's time. Well, I guess not everybody experiences that, but what I experience is I'm not worth anybody else's time. I'm not really worth anything in my mind. I am a disappointment to everybody I know, and thinking about that all the time makes me feel awful. And as some of you may know, I recently have gotten engaged to somebody who I love very much, and even I don't think she knows the extent of how I feel. I honestly don't think anybody can know how somebody feels that suffers from this. Just the other day, I had what I guess I would consider an episode. Sorry, I have to adjust my mic. An episode what us who suffer from bipolar depression disorder, I don't really know how to word it, as a manic episode. We went to the Parade of Lights in Chico over the last weekend, and we had a good time. I met my aunt there, my Aunt Debbie, and my cousin Ashley and her newly born baby, who I got to see for the first time, which was nice. My friend, one of my best friends from high school, his name's Brian, I haven't seen in a long time because I've distanced myself from everybody in my life because of the anxiety I suffer from growing up with this disorder. As a lot of my family members and friends might know, I grew up being the fat kid my entire life, throughout school and everything. I was literally the fattest kid in school at every school that I was at, so I was the constant target of bullying, which made everything way worse. It's looking back at it, it's a lot of what affects me to this very day. Even though in 2005 I had a gastric bypass, which changed the insides of my stomach and where it connects to my upper and lower intestines, so I could properly lose weight and try to live somewhat a normal life. But And that doesn't change anything up here in the brain. It, everything stays the same up there. I go out in public and I still feel like I constantly think everybody's looking at me and judging me. I'm still that guy in everybody else's mind. I guess I'm making this video because I hope to maybe possibly start a YouTube channel to where I can maybe, as I go through therapy and psychiatry, help other people that are suffering from this. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. But I'm going off on a tangent. The parade, the light of parades here in Chico. We went through that and everything, and then I was texting my friend Brian, and I asked him if he was there, and he said he was, and so I was excited about that because I hadn't seen him in maybe a year or two because of how secluded I made myself been and how busy he's been. My friend James as well was there with him, and a few other friends of theirs that I haven't met because I've secluded myself so much. The Parade of Lights ended up ending, and they were at the Parade of Lights was downtown in Chico, and obviously there's a lot of bars downtown, and they were at a bar just hanging out, having a few beers, you know, talking about things. I showed up with Mary, who for the first time, I think, in our relationship, saw me as a completely different person. In our home life, I'm kind of almost dead inside and not very outgoing or happy. I mean, probably pretty much how I seem right now. But I got to see a few of my friends for the first time in a long time. Had a few beers. I was smiling and laughing and having a great time, reminiscing of old times and just talking about things, and I met a few new people that were their friends, and they were very cool, and I enjoyed the social experience, but there's a huge but in that. Part of my bipolar disorder and anxiety is it's very hard to communicate with people out in public without medication, or the medication that helps me in social situations almost always tends to be alcohol. And yet I've only had a couple of beers at this point. It helps me because of my gastric bypass. Alcohol affects my system faster than everybody else with a normal gastric tract. So I'm able to be the more outgoing, somewhat, I guess, a normal person that I guess society wants me to be, or what I in my head envision me to be, a happy, outgoing person. I've always put everybody else's needs in front of mine. I've always believed in treating people the same way I wanted to be treated, even though they might have been assholes to me, or I honestly inside didn't feel they deserved it. That's just always who I've been, and so I had this experience, and it was very humbling, and it was really good to see people I haven't seen in a long time. And part of I recently just got into therapy. I've only had 2 sessions, and this has been a long time coming. I've been so afraid of doing it. But I've been doing a lot of positive changes in my life to try and make things better. I've been exercising and eating more properly to try and lose about 20 or 30 pounds because I've gained a little bit more than I would like. But not only that, but I've wanted to reconnect with friends and make an actual effort to beat these things that I'm suffering from. I know this video is probably going on long, and I know a lot of people have probably not made it up to this point, but if you have, I appreciate it. It's to those in my family that I haven't talked to in a long time or haven't really gotten close to, or I have lost touch with, I'm very sorry. It's not completely in my control. The things with bipolar disorder, we have extremely differentiating moods. We have exaggerated like optimism about things at times, but then we just suddenly, like, as soon as we're about to try and accomplish something that we're so optimistic about, we just go, no, I can't do this. Like, you know, I'm who I am. Like, I'm weak. I'm worthless. That's who I am inside right now, and I'm hoping therapy is gonna help save that. I feel worthless. I feel like I'm a disappointment to everybody in my life. It's really sad, like, to think about it, honestly. Like, everybody else gets to live these normal lives. I mean, what we call normal. Like, you know, I've recently found out that there's other people out there that I've known for a long time who have seemed really outgoing and happy that are just the same as me, and we put up a shield, we put up a face of happiness in front of those who think that we're, you know, that's how we are, but we're not. Behind those curtains, we're sad individuals. We're suffering inside, and this song is very relevant to what I'm saying. We live a life that is two-sided. We live a life that on one side seems happy and outgoing to others, and the people who are very closest to us, or those who are living with us, see the real us. The one who cries for no reason, the one who is sad constantly for no reason, the one who some days has no feelings at all and is just completely dead inside, the one who can't make any decisions, the one who can't have any sleep, they're fatigued, we have racing thoughts in our heads, we have incredibly impulsive behaviors on things that we can't control. For example, I have control with impulsive buying things, money issues. I have impulsive issues with when I'm feeling either happy or sad. I drink, and I'm not an alcoholic, which is a good thing, but part of those impulsive issues are that, and we have reckless behavior, such as, you know, drinking when we shouldn't, especially when we're sad. It only makes bipolar depression even worse. And that just puts the people around us in, you know, it puts them in bad situations, and it puts them in states that make them sad or stressed. And for those of you I've put in those situations, I'm extremely sorry. I wish I could help it. I really do. And I hope within the next few years, or however long it takes, that I can fix this. It's not going to be fixed completely, but it'll hopefully get better. People with extremely severe bipolar disorders suffer delusions and hallucinations. And I won't lie, I've had auditory hallucinations and stuff where I hear things, not necessarily voices or anything like that, but I have experienced those. But with medication and time and therapy, those things will go away. There's so many things that people don't understand that I wish they could. And that's why I've posted before on Facebook where, you know, I said bipolar is something that nobody understands. They tell you to just, stop feeling sad because, you know, it's making everybody else sad, but, you know, it's not that easy. And I may have called it disease, but it's not really disease, it's more of a disorder. It's our brains and the synapses that connect each other and fire neurons, or whatever they're called, in between them are kind of damaged, unlike other people's who aren't. And we get sad for no reason, even though things could be going great in our lives. We can just be crying for no reason, even though things are fine in our lives. When things are really bad in our lives, those things can be even more exaggerated and even worse. A suicidal ideation for some people that are suffering from bipolar disorders and depression, where we feel we're worthless and we're not worth living in this world because we are just a burden on other people. Excuse me. It's something I've suffered with a million times. Well, not a million times, but a lot. And there's a lot of people in my life, including my parents, that don't know how many times I've been this close to ending my life, or have attempted to. But there were either people online or in my real life who were there to actually help me, and it kept that from happening. There's a lot of things with bipolar that people just I guess take for granted. They there's people out there who are just happy-go-lucky people who just think people who are sad are just sad for that point in time, but those people could be sad for years until they actually get help or medicated. Those of us who socially withdraw ourselves, like myself, I tend to stay at home almost all of the time because I'm scared of social situations. I take anxiety medication because I have panic attacks around a lot of people. People like us have loss of energy. We're lethargic. We're pessimistic. We're indifferent to everything. We just we have different sleep patterns. Like, we can't, like, for me, example, I can't sleep most of the time. There'll be times where I sleep maybe 2 hours a night, every night for weeks. Then there'll be days where I can actually sleep a normal night. we can have complete mood disorders, which I suffer from as well, where we're just irritable, we're angry, we worry about everything, every single thing in our lives. We're completely agitated by any little thing. And of course, the main thing for me is anxiety. I don't know, I just... I just want people to understand who I am and why I've possibly not been there in your life, or I was there in your life at one point but disappeared. This is basically why, and I'm trying to fix it, and I hope I can. So for the, I don't know how much longer I have, 60-ish% of the life I have left, I hope I can be there to experience it with everybody else that wants to experience it with me. So if you've watched it until this point, I appreciate it. That's 20-something minutes of your life that, I don't know, you could consider wasted, but I hope to try and to inspire some people who suffer from the same thing I do, and maybe they can get some courage to either reach out to those that are close to them, or even reach out and get help if they haven't gotten therapy or psychiatry yet. Do it. It's the best thing for you. I'm only just starting, and I've only had 2 sessions of therapy, and I can tell it's already helping, so do it if you haven't. And thank you for listening if you watched this entire thing. So those of you who are family and friends, I love you, and peace out.